Hey everybody, just wanted to say thank you for 500 subscribers. I really appreciate it. The feedback and just the overwhelming support has been, like it's really appreciated. It's really made my 2 weeks, to be honest. So as promised, for 500 subscribers, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a kind of step-by-step guide of how I installed all my mods. And hopefully we'll get it looking the same way it does in my video. So pretty much, yeah, that's that. On the right here, as you can see, what I've got is the all the mods for this like kind of pseudo mod pack. Like I didn't make any of these mods. Credit goes out to all the modders, as always. What I'll do is I'll kind of bundle all of these all in one raw file and upload them and make it easily accessible for everybody. There'll also be a notepad in here that'll credit each and every single modder, as well as provide the Nexus page links for each of these mods. As far as troubleshooting and stuff goes, I've not experienced any crashes or issues with these mods. As I played through the entire game for my Sorrow video recently, I've not had a single crash, and I was playing the game for like 4 days for probably 3 to 4 hours per day, sometimes 2, sometimes 3, but I haven't had any issues. And I was really fucking hammering at the game because, I had to kill everybody for it. So I won't delve into that now. But yeah, this will be easily accessible for everyone, including the Reshade setup and stuff like that. So everyone can just, get these, install them the same way I did in this video, and hopefully it will be working. Now, I've literally just downloaded MGS3, like a clean version of MGS3, because I've tested all of this yesterday. I've installed all of these yesterday because obviously my SSD died recently. I lost all my fucking MGS3 mods, saves, everything, because the game stores the save data in the fucking game install folder for some reason. So that's that. So I re-downloaded these last night before I went to bed, and I just messed around with it, tested to see if it works. And yeah, all of this worked. I had no issues whatsoever. So I'll do it the exact same way I installed the mods, last night. So MGS3 is literally just finished downloading now. So what I'm going to do is manage, browse local files. That's how you get to the install folder on Steam. This will bring that up. Sweet. So that's all the files in here. Pretty much fresh, brand new. Before you do proceed, if you're on a pirate copy of the game, I'm not going to judge you. I don't care. But this should also work on a pirate copy, theoretically, because you're literally just going to be replacing some files. So they're all the same on the pirate copy or on the legitimate version. So I don't see why this wouldn't work. But obviously, if you do have any issues or anything like that, then yeah, I don't know how much help can be done. I would just contact the modders themselves directly, the guys that made these mods, just to verify whether it works in a cracked copy. But like, as I said, I speculate that it should work, so you shouldn't have issues. So without further ado and further rambling, I'm just gonna get ahead with it. So first things first, what I recommend you do is literally make a copy of your MGS3 install folder. As you can see, I already have a copy here that's modded. This is the same. This is literally MGS3, but with all of these mods installed. So this is in case my game fucks up or something, or I install a mod that fucks shit up, I can just revert that copy. So I literally Control C, Control V, and you paste the vanilla files for the game into the common folder, and it will just call it MGS3 copy. It's not going to overwrite anything. You should just create a copy, and then you just want to rename it and call it literally just vanilla or something like that. So what I'll do is I'll cut the video here so you don't have to sit here and watch this shit go on for 3 minutes. I'll just sit here and watch it. Cool. So now that the copy, you've got a copy of MGS3 like right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start installing the mods. So I'm going to rename this copy to vanilla. And the reason you want to do this is in case anything goes wrong or fucks up, you don't have to reinstall the entire game. Like, I've got a gigabit internet, so it takes me like 5 minutes to reinstall the game. But obviously for some people, you might not have like fast internet, or you might have data caps or something like that. So just back up your game files. And then if something goes wrong, just delete everything from this folder, obviously except for your save games, and then just, you know, copy the files over across manually, and then you can do a Steam verify of the files, and that should you know, fix any issues you have. So as for MGS3, I'm going to start off with MGSHDFIx, your bread and butter mod. Literally open the raw file, highlight all these files, drag and drop them in here. Close this, and you can delete this. This is just an instruction that the mod creator has put in there, so you don't really need this. Next thing you want to do is you want to open the MGSHDFIx.ini. This is going to be your configuration for this mod. Now, as for custom resolutions, you can leave this as 0 to use your desktop resolution. So mine's 1440p, but I run it at 4K. So I just put in the 4K resolution here, right? So I just do 3840 by 2160. Right, that's cool. So that's gonna launch in that resolution later on when I test the game. As for launcher config, if enabled, we'll skip the launcher app and run the game directly. So if you're not bothered about like the launcher that the Master Collection comes with, you can just set this to true. This will skip the launcher and it will just default straight to the American version of the game, I believe. So I recommend setting this to true because I just like to get straight into my game. Don't like to wait over the intros. It's, you know, but that's entirely up to you. You don't really have to do anything with this. Control type, this just changes and affects the what was I saying? Yeah, the keyboard binds. Like, you know, when you press the button, it will press like X or X on PS5 or X on Xbox, like whatever. You're just gonna get the prompts for your platform of choice. It's by default set to keyboard, but I play on a PS5 pad, so I just put in PS5 like that. If you play on Xbox on an Xbox controller, you can just, you know, put that in, just Xbox or whatever, or PS4. It shouldn't really matter or make much of a difference. It's entirely preferential, but I like to set it that way. Anisotropic filtering you want to leave at 16 as it is, because that will fix the blurry textures. Frame buffer fix, just leave that on as true. Skip intros, it just skips some intro logos. So after you get into the game, past the launcher, there's a few intro logos for like Konami and stuff. I just set it to true because, like I said, saves you some time. Everything else here, pretty much, you can just completely ignore. You don't really need to use it. There are a few ultra-wide fixes, but like I said, I don't play an ultra-wide. So, you know, this doesn't really affect me. But if you're having issues or you're playing ultra-wide or whatever, this is the place you want to kind of look into and mess around with. I don't really know what each of these do or change specifically. Like you see here, some will break effects. So just keep that in mind. I think the mod is still kind of work in progress. It's being worked on currently. So once you've done all that, you want to hit save. That'll save the MGSHDFIx INI. So next time you launch the game, it'll, I believe, use the ASI loader to load the ini like configuration stuff, and it'll obviously pop the game up at this resolution with all these settings. So let's not dwell on that too much. Next, we're going to do the big slop ×4 texture upscale. So this is the texture pack, right? I recommend using the ×4, but obviously if you don't want to, I'll put a link for the ×2 in the notepad as well. So don't worry too much about that. But yeah, this is literally identical for ×4 or ×2. You can literally just, you see these files here, right? You just drag and drop them in here, right? And it's going to extract everything, and it's going to then ask you to overwrite files. When it does ask you to overwrite files, you want to hit yes, because that will replace the vanilla game textures with these modded ones. And that will then provide you the higher fidelity in the game. The reason I'm doing Big Slop so soon or so quick, or like at the start, is because some of these mods we're going to install later, they will override some textures. For like say EVA's Body or like HD Pinups or stuff like that, or some text or some fonts and stuff like that. So what's essentially going to happen is you want to have this in there first, so that if you install any of the smaller mods, if you were to say install Big Slop afterwards, it would overwrite a few of those smaller mods. So you install Big Slop first, and then anything else, like the smaller stuff, you install on top of it afterwards. So that will, you know, that will just not, you know, affect your mods, and they'll display correctly and stuff like that. So while this happens, I'm just gonna obviously cut the video so you guys don't have to sit here and watch this, because it can take some time. So there we go. Now it's gonna ask me to replace the file, so I'm just gonna hit yes. Cool, so the Big Slop is installed. That's all great. So next onto the better quality MGS3 Ocelot face. Oh wait, that's meant to be number 4. Hold on, I'll just amend that. Right, first, next we're going to do the audio. So same as with the Big Slop, you just open the raw file, hit the US button, and drag and drop it into the main installation folder. Wait for it to extract, and then just overwrite any files. So now that that's done, it's time for the slightly smaller mods and stuff like that. So if we do better quality Ocelot face, drag and drop it here, and it's going to replace the Ocelot face. Cool, that's done. Next for HD EVA Body, same thing, just drag and drop. Arguably, Big Slop and Better Audio are the longest parts of this modding guide, so they'll take the longest amount of time, especially for the download. Next, we've got the Infinity Face Paint fix, so replace this. Then you have the Konami Digital Entertainment fix. It's MGS3, so we choose that. American version, which is the one I'm playing on. I'm just going to do the 2023 digital fix. Drag the textures file in here. Replace. Cool. Then the master reshade I'll actually come back to. I'll install this after I do reshade, which I like to do last. Then you've got the master collection splash. Now this one's slightly trickier because I normally go for the 4K version. So the 4K version actually hasn't got the loading icon for some reason in the mod file. So I just drag and drop this, replace. And then if you go back to 720p or 1080p, and then if you go to MISC and then drag and drop that as well, this will give you the loading icon as well. And that's that for that mod. Then you've got the lewd pinups, all optional. So all, and then textures, drag and drop that in there. Replace the files in the destination. Overridden. Cool, that's all done. Now this is optional. This is a cheat trainer. I'm going to include this in here anyway, simply because if you want to do challenge runs or stuff like that, or if you have skill issues like me, you can just, you know, pop that in here. It's literally you run the game, you run this, and then you get a few things you can do, like change options and settings and stuff like that with the game. So that's pretty cool. And then you've got the crouch walk mod. Now this is entirely optional. You don't need to install this, but I'm going to install this because I like the mod. It's excellent. So big props to Zoft and I believe Trigger Happy for making this mod. So you literally just drag and drop these files into the main installation folder. Cool. So that's done. Next, damaged face HD. It's once again just textures, so replace these files. Boom, that's done. This is for the HD damaged face in the prison. This is another one that might take a moment. 4K enhanced codec profiles and pictures. It's optional, but I recommend using it anyway because it's pretty nice. Then you override that. Yep. Replace the files. Oh no, it's pretty fast. Never mind me. Cool. And then last but not least, splitter face paint fix. Override, close. Cool. That's nice and done. So next we're going to get onto the reshade. Also very straightforward. So you want to run it. This will give you the installer for reshade. So you just want to hit browse and go to your MGS3 installation folder and select MGS3 exe. This will install Reshade for that exe. You want to select DirectX 10, 11, 12, because I believe that's what the game runs under. And then this is the part where I will, well, you can install the preset, but you don't really have to. Anyways, next. So yeah, we'll ignore this. We'll just go next. Just install the standard effects and suite effects. Next. Next. That's installed. Now that you have the master reshade less extreme, drag and drop all these files into your installation folder and replace whatever needs replacing. It's just going to be reshade shaders, so that's fine. And you're pretty much done. So that's all these mods installed. So what you want to do is then just hit play and see if your game starts. It should do. Shouldn't be any problems. So we're about to see now what happens to my game. Cool. So that's all loaded. Perfect. As you can see, master collection screen pops up. All those mods are playing ball. That's all working. So that's excellent. So before I get into the game, I'm just going to select the reshade preset. If you're on 4K like I am right now, this may be a bit difficult to read. So you want to change the text size, I believe. Don't know if that's going to work. There's a few settings here that you can use to increase the size, but I'm not going to mess around with this now too much because we just end up taking too much time. So next, you want to select the reshade preset. There you go, master less extreme.ini, and select it. And that's going to select this is going to give you the reshade preset. Oh, and if you're new to Reshade, you've never used it before, home brings up this overlay. So you just tap home and that brings it up. If you want to change that, you can go into settings, overlay key, and change it to whatever you want. And then toggle effect key, I like to set to end. And that's that. That's Reshade pretty much set up. So if I hit end now, it disables the effect. So what I'll do now is I'll just briefly load it into the game. Make sure it's all running and playing as you would expect. So if I just load it up.
After the end of World War II, the world was split into two, East and West. This marked the beginning of the era called the Cold War.
So I'm just going to skip a few of these cutscenes. So the game's, with the audio fixes, the game's still pretty loud, but it's not as ear-rapey loud. So there you have it. That's all the mods installed. This is what the game looks like with all the mods installed. Pretty much the same as the video. Now you can tell the texture mods are working by, if you go here, if you stand close by, you can see the details on the olive drab. Like you can see the little lines on the clothing. So that's how you can tell the mod is actually working. If I remember correctly, before it was just like a very plain texture. So you can also check other camos. So if I go and grab the backpack. So, as you can see, way more detailed than normal. You've got naked as well, which should be slightly more detailed as well. All the other cameras should be detailed, except Tiger Stripe. I think that upscaler kind of maybe missed Tiger Stripe a little bit. Someone in the comments on the mod has pointed this out, and I do notice this as well. Tiger Stripe is blurrier than all the other camos for some reason. So maybe it'll get fixed in the future version, but I don't really play with Tiger Stripe too much. Even though it's fucking iconic, it shouldn't affect much. Now, as you can see, all the other camos, they'll look at that. It's very crisp, very, high res. So all of that looks absolutely gorgeous. And same with the face. Look at Splitter. Look how nice and high quality that looks over the base version of the game, where it's kind of just like, it's like black pixels kind of smearing across Snake's face. So yeah, that's how you can tell all the mods are running and working fine. Now obviously some of the textures will still kind of look blurry, like on the ground and in places, but that's just, I assume, just due to old textures and stuff like that. But if we go into the next area, we can clearly see anisotropic filtering is also working. As you can see, yeah, the texture pack is nice and mip-mapped. All looks gorgeous. And you can see anisotropic filtering is working because the distant textures, they're not blurry. They're actually nice and high quality, especially if you look at the ground. There may be slight blurring here and there on some of these textures, but I believe that's just, I think, mip-maps, if anything. But anisotropic filtering, everything else works. Oh yeah, and most importantly, the crouch walk mod works as well. So if you want to get into a crouch walk, you can literally just hit X and then walk with the left stick, and then you can hold the D-pad as well to walk silently, and it all works as you would expect it to. So yeah, very excellent mod and excellent work on that. And if you want to go pro, you just hold X. So if I try and get some visuals on this crocodile, so I can compare, well, look at the textures. So definitely, yeah, much higher res and cleaner looking than in the vanilla game. And obviously we can also do a little comparison, and we can play around with the reshade and toggle it off, and this is what the game looks like without the reshade. Pretty washed out in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. I prefer the way the game looks with this. So yeah, that is that. I'm just going to close the game down. So that's pretty much it. These are all the mods that we have here. Everything's installed. All 15 mods, well 16 if you count the reshade, all up and running. No issues. As you could see, gameplay, it's fine, no crashes. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope this guide helped you guys out, and then if you have any issues, comment on the video. Like I said, I'll do my best to help out, but this should be very very straightforward. It shouldn't be, problematic. So fingers crossed, yeah, it works for everybody. Peace and take care.